Hello, you are watching a series of interviews on the Astana International Financial Center activities. Today we are having a special guest, Mr. Marco Dal Lago. Mr. Dal Lago is a Vice President of the Tether for Global Expansion and the Strategic Partnership. Mr. Dal Lago, welcome to our studio. Let's start our conversation from the innovation technologies that were introduced within the Tether recently and how they are going to enhance the Tether's role as within the digital payments, and how this innovation position Tether against traditional payment methods and the other stable coins.
Thank you very much for the question. It's a pleasure to be here. So Tether started in 2014, actually, with USDT, which is the major, let's say, still stable coin pegged to the US dollar. And it started with a use case that it's, I would say, still active now, but maybe not the major one. It started because there was a big arbitrage opportunity between exchanges. We had the price of Bitcoin, which was really volatile. Many exchanges were listing new digital assets, new cryptocurrencies. And there was this big arbitration opportunity, and banking rails were not that active at the moment, right? So it was really difficult to, as we say, off-ramp, so to convert Bitcoin to fiat currency. So key Tether, let's say, founders came up with this idea of putting a US dollar on the blockchain. And now we see how many pairs, like how strong USDT is. I think nowadays it changed a lot. It went a lot towards digital payments, indeed, as you mentioned. Also remittances, cross-border payments, and trade finance. Tether, I like to say that it's a bit like water. So when you go to any country, you have water everywhere, right? But then it's the country and the companies in the countries that decide itself how to deploy water, like sparkling water, still water, or in different kind of packaging and so on. And it's a bit the same for Tether. You have, when it comes especially to USDT, you have USDT deployed in each country a bit in a different way through different channels. You have exchanges, virtual asset service providers, and payments app, and so on. So this to say that our role is not really to make all the innovations by ourselves, but to foster local companies, local providers. Every country is different, has a different payment structure, behavior of the consumers, and so on. So most of the innovations that we do come with a partnership with local companies, local institutions. That's why also the expansion team, we built up a team that is really geographically focused. So we have people a little bit everywhere, especially in emerging markets. And some innovations that I can tell, like, for example, we are investing in companies that are creating new networks to do payments, because USDT or our other stablecoins, they offer 24/7 transfers, let's say, payment transfers, really fast, really cheap. But when you are still connected to the traditional financial system, you may have some intermediaries that are actually hindering these quick transactions and so on. So what we try to do is to empower other companies. Like, there is a company, for example, that allows to create a wallet and transfer USDT just by putting a mobile number of the recipient. Yes, we are here with CityPay that is getting licenses a bit everywhere in this region, and they allow to immediately settle transactions in fiat currency, because the regulation often doesn't allow to have merchant disbursed in USDT, for example. And we have investments into trade finance, where just to import-export goods, you have an escrow service in the middle, like a third kind of party that ensure that the goods are moved. And so we have different cooperations, and our role is just to try to support these innovative startups in the digital payment industry.
Yeah, I see. Actually, also that was a great analogy with water. Yeah. So also our next question would be, what do you see as Tether's most significant contribution to the future of digital currencies and the broader financial ecosystem?
Yes. So I think the biggest contribution of Tether is its reliability and transparency through the years, because the role of a stablecoin issuer is really actually the activity that it has to do. It's really like simple. We need to issue a digital currency and be sure that we can redeem this digital currency. We need to be really serious and responsible about the deposits of the consumers, of our customers, right? So that's, I would say, the main contribution that Tether did in the industry, although it seems like a little bit like trivial. But when we saw that there were crashes in the market, speaking, for example, about UST, like with Luna Terra crash, what in 2022, Tether redeemed around 25 billion, if I'm not wrong, of USDT to US dollar in less than 1 month. And we never seen something like that in the banking industry, right? So this is the main contribution that Tether gave. Like it reinvented a way of doing banking. It's basically an over-collateralized bank, right? In a way that in the digital space, of course, no, it's a bit different, but we didn't see like over-collateralized like financial institutions like this, other than having all these treasury bills that has reserves of many billions that allow for quick recovery in case something would happen. So Tether shareholders made a decision in not basically distributing like dividends or just a minimal part of it, in order to protect customers in the advent of dangerous situations in the industry. So it started, I would say this is the main contribution, although it's trivial, it's reliability of Tether, and that's why Tether is so liquid and is so everywhere. And then Tether went on by developing solutions that are a bit, I would say, even smart. For example, with Tether Gold, we always speak about USDT, but Tether now it's much bigger, like technological group, I would say, and it's touching many sectors. If we still talk about like the finance part, XAUT or Tether Gold, as we call it, it's a little bit coming back to the gold standard. We have like physical gold with no intermediary. It's on the name of the individual or company that buys it. It's stored in Switzerland, a country that probably values private property in the best way in the world. That's why most of the reserves of gold are there, actually. And so you have gold, which, you know, we are a strong believer in Bitcoin, but not everyone understands it. And when there is a tough geopolitical situation or a bit dangerous macroeconomical situation, people understand really well gold. So we decided that to digitalize gold.
Oh, it's an actually great idea.
Yeah. And lately we also decided to create a USDT, alloyed by Tether, which is pegged basically by is backed by gold. It's still like mimicking the value of $1, but it's backed by gold, by Tether Gold actually. So this gets us back a little bit to the gold standard era, but with digitalization.
Oh, I see. We could say, in a way, the Tether itself was an innovation, yeah, to innovate banking system.
Absolutely. And it's when I first joined Tether, actually, one of the founders was telling me, look, Marco, most of the things that we do don't work and people don't understand them for 3-4 years, and then they become quite understood, no? As we saw for USDT. And I believe that also with the new tokenizations that we are doing, like Alloy by Tether and many others, we are going to get there in just a few years.
Yeah, I see. And I believe that it will happen. Yeah? So, and the next question is, how does Tether plan to stay at the forefront of technological innovation in the stablecoin market?
For sure. So we created USDT, of course, but other stablecoins trials that we did, like offshore yuan, Mexican pesos, then Tether Gold, alloyed by Tether, as I was mentioning. And now we see that many more countries and companies are interested in creating stablecoins as well, right? So of course there are some competitors that are creating a bit similar stablecoins. There are competitors that are creating yield-bearing stablecoins, but we believe that is not really an interesting direction to pursue. The role of stablecoin like Tether, like USDT, is it's to give access to a fiat currency, in this case with USDT, in a much simpler manner, so that you can make transaction faster cross-border, right? And when a currency is devaluating maybe 10-20% yeah, month over month, and you really don't need to find 4% interest rate in these, like people are just like devaluating their the countries are just and people are living in countries where the currencies are devaluating so much that they want access to the dollar to save money, maybe. So I think the role of Tether now is mostly to share the knowledge that it has acquired through the years, through a lot of battle testing, through all the testing of our security systems and smart contracts and so on, and share it with those institutions and players that want to try to adopt these technologies. So we need to play a role of advisory, and we need to play a role of infrastructure provider, trying to share our technologies so that those countries that are trying to test if this can be a good revolution as well for their countries, they can try to use this technology, which is battle tested, without reinventing the wheel from scratch again.
So to provide, to educate on the technologies that you already acquired, and become a mentor, it's how the Tether will be always a leader,
Exactly. And also really by sharing the technology that we have as well, other than educating and mentoring. Yes.
Okay, I see. And also, what specific strategies is Tether implementing to enhance its presence in the sectors like e-commerce and decentralized finance, and how are the strategies tailored to address the unique need of each sector?
Of course. So as I was mentioning earlier, when it comes to e-commerce and to payments in general and so on, we mostly work with partners. And first of all, we need to study the regulatory framework of a country, because there are countries that are a bit more restrictive, where almost we cannot work. And there are countries that are much more open, like, I don't know, namely Switzerland. In Switzerland, you can make a payment in USDT, and the merchant can hold USDT, on their balance sheet. So, while in other countries, like for example in Georgia, you need to do an immediate conversion into fiat currency. In Switzerland, we call it a little bit like de facto legal tender, although it's not legal tender. Swiss francs is legal tender. But like in countries like Georgia, it's not a legal tender. The legal tender is the lari, the Georgian lari. So that's it, and you make an immediate conversion. So we work with many companies, and we do many investments in order to create systems that are easy to use for e-commerce and for whatever experience, physical payment experience and online experience. And it's a big battle, I would say, also in the UX right now, because there are many blockchains. There are that sometimes are working well, sometimes are working not well, sometimes are disappearing, sometimes are fast or not. And so we need to choose really strategically what are our partners in order to be sure that the next billion users can be onboarded in our industry with ease. Like, what is a private key? How do you secure funds? And also we do a big job into promoting financial safety. So working a lot with, other than working with technological companies to improve UX and in general, like payment behaviors. We work a lot also with law enforcement. Like I believe we are working with more than 120 law enforcements all around the world to also to prevent financial scams, because it's easy then in any financial system that people are tricked with what they don't know. So it's really about education and about like technological development as well.
Yeah, I see. So the implementation of your technology is easier in some countries, but in some countries it's a bit challenging. Yeah, but based on those experiences, you can maybe create some system, and maybe group some countries. Yeah, and make one like way of implementing in them.
Of course, it's a lot of work with regulators. There are really tangible differences between countries, even between Kazakhstan or Uzbekistan, Georgia, Azerbaijan. If you see the regulator, it's a bit a challenge for a stablecoin issuer, because also the regulation when it comes to exchanges, for instance, is a bit more clear, and when it comes to stablecoin issuer, is not really clear yet. Or we really facilitate and promote regulation in our industry, because it gives some clarity also to us and to the users as well. But it's challenging sometimes when different countries ask different things, so you don't know how to conform yourself, right, with the different regulations. So it's a big job. That's why I was saying like we need to do some advisory and some brainstorming together, like we did in Europe, or we did here as well in Kazakhstan and many other countries.
Yeah, I see. Thank you for your extended answer. And how is Tether working to overcome barriers to adoption in emerging markets? And what role do its partnerships and the initiatives play in promoting financial inclusion in this region?
Of course. So Tether, I would say also maybe one of the main differentiator between Tether and its competitors, it's really the focus on emerging markets that we put in our business. We believe that in the US you already have like a dollar, right? And there are thousands of solutions to quickly transfer dollars. In Europe, no one understands the dollar. I'm from Italy. I never seen a dollar bill until I was like traveling at more 20 years old or whatever. So there is no really interest in holding dollar or having dollar. There are some countries instead where the devaluation of the local currency is really high. They are somehow a little bit dollarized already, and that's where basically Tether gave a better financial method, technological also method to access to a financial product that is just helping to save money basically and to transfer money. So our key mission has always been, in general, I would say, boosting individual sovereignty. And individual sovereignty is composed by financial freedom and freedom of speech. So when you come to Tether, it's USDT especially, is a lot of financial freedom. We work just in LATAM, Africa, maybe in this part of the world, a little bit in Asia. And we work with dozens of universities. You may have seen, like also on the news, every week almost, we are working with a government, with a university. Now we are launching some educational programs in Uganda, in Benin, in Argentina, in Bolivia, in Venezuela. So educational initiatives to let people understand what's about, also to prevent financial frauds, for them to anticipate potential problems. And this is something that we do for the unbanked population, for those people that needs to send money home and they are paying huge transaction fees for sending just a transfer to a remittance, to their family and so on. So that's our target market. That's what we want to do and what drives us basically in trying to do these partnerships and the expansion of Tether.
So decentralization of existing strong financial system, and so it's better to save money in stable coins rather than in currency of some other countries.
The thing is that of course if you live in Switzerland, you have Swiss franc is a very strong currency, right? So but most of the eight or 9 million people live in Switzerland. The rest have like 1,000 different currencies, maybe, no? Not 1,000, but 100 or a few hundreds. And the problem is that even if today I try to make a transfer, let's say from Argentina to Kazakhstan, I'm 100% sure I will have problems in doing it if it's transfer between company and company. And the thing is that even between individuals, the thing is that this money have been KYC'd already and have been already through anti-money laundering procedures and so on. But then when I send a transfer, I will receive from an intermediary bank maybe one page of questions, and this will slow down the payment. And companies need cash sometimes to quickly pay their suppliers and so on. So that's why companies and individuals are using more and more stable coins for saving, for sending transfer. It's impossible that we live in 2024 and I cannot send a transfer on Saturday, you know, in most of the countries. So, and I cannot send a transfer in the night, and I have to wait 2-3 days to send a transfer. It's really unimaginable where we live in a world that is always connected. And we have the technologies already to do so, but traditional financial institutions are lagging like behind. And it happened for many things, right? You see these small startups emerging, doing things that you say, why the big like incumbents didn't think about it.
So the stable coins are mostly driven not only with like revenue purposes, but also some kind of social justice kind of purposes, yeah?
You know, Tether was... so no one was speaking much about Tether when Tether was invented. No, Tether became really interesting company for everyone, and everyone was trying to adopt stablecoins after they saw the extreme profitability of the business model. No, but in the beginning, I think I was not there yet. But for the main founders and shareholders, I think it was not an easy game to try to pitch and convey the message of what they wanted to achieve. No, I would say many players were really hostile, like to accept this kind of innovation, like it was with credit cards in the beginning, like it was like for internet in the beginning. So they had to work a lot on creating some kind of awareness, convincing people, and so on. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And also, how has USDT's dominance as a stablecoin impacted the broader crypto ecosystem, and how might its role evolve as the market continues to mature?
Yeah, of course. So Tether, of course, now it has always been, but it's still the biggest stablecoin issuer by far, right? And is the most liquid. So we have requests from all around the world, like for whatever kind of company, exchanges, payments, but also companies that are not in our industry, like maybe companies that are doing like commodities trading or trade finance, that are asking our support. We feel really responsible and serious to that, because we know the industry depends also on us. No, everything is a bit also on our shoulders. We have like many companies that need some support. Either it is like to issue more USDT, either is to just have some business development support or some technical support. So I think we made a quite big change in the last years by having people all around that can support, and we can hear the voice of our, let's say, customers somehow. Before, maybe we were not so actively participating in local geographies. Now we are pushing more and more to understand how to support local players, basically. So we feel really responsible about it. And my first question when we do a call is really how we can support, no? Because it's really about supporting each other. And we need just to facilitate these partners in order to maintain our strength. And in order to expand the monetary base of Tether, is a lot working with onboarding next billion users, which are the non-tech user. No, we have like innovators, early adopters that are using it, but we still lack like a lot of people, let's say my parents' generation and so on, no, that maybe they don't have the clear understanding of what it is.
I'm
so
sure.
yeah, so maybe my parents, yes, because I did brainwashing to them, but in general, I would say we really need to improve our messaging and try to understand how to onboard these new kind of users that are maybe the less geeks, less techie user, tech savvy user, and we do that by cooperating with other partners. Like, for example, the cooperation we did with Ton Telegram. That's for sure massive. I was seeing today, and we launched a few months ago, I think 2-3 months ago, we have more than 1 million or 1.2 million users right now, USDT holders on Ton, which is quite massive for just a short amount of time that we are working with that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are expanding your audience or your users. Yeah, you can still be always ahead of the game.
Yeah, of course. But we do it in a way that is not only, you know, we don't stop in USDT and we don't sit there and see like, oh, wow, how we are good, right? So we are trying to do things that can help the industry, as I was mentioning, to unleash financial freedom. We are stronger believer in Bitcoin and Bitcoin mission. We believe that Tether is a bridge to get towards that mission. But, you know, also, I would say, driven by our CEO, Paolo Ardoino vision, we are developing solutions in different areas as well, like AI, energy, evolution, like with healthcare solutions and the education. So we are really tapping into different sectors where we want to bring our knowledge, let's say.
Yeah, I see. So Tether is not pursuing like a goal to become a monopoly, but rather help support other stablecoins via leading by example.
Yeah, it's other than helping other stablecoins, it's helping the whole industry, and also trying to achieve our vision through different set of technologies. So it started, yes, we could call it crypto, but now I don't think that Tether defines itself again like a cryptocurrency company. If you see, we did a big re-strategizing and rebranding of Tether a few months ago, where we defined different pillars: finance, data, so data, AI, power, which is energy related. We start with Bitcoin mining, education, and evolution. So we are really like kind of diversifying and tapping into different segments.
I see. Yeah. So you are like, as a company yourself, is finding out the definition of the Tether, like via just learning, via experience.
Of course, but it's I think the North Star is individual sovereignty, and as I was mentioning, like financial freedom, freedom of speech aspect are two main features of that. And I would say that everything that you see that we do is going into that direction. So we have a pretty clear vision of what we want to do, what we want to achieve, and then it's about finding the right technologies and the right people to achieve this vision.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for this interview, Mr. Dal Lago.